I happen to believe that providing more military aid to Netanyahu's extreme right-wing government to do the horrible things that are going on in Gaza right now, as you may know, as we speak, it's horrible.
Absolutely.
So if you want to speak out against Netanyahu's government and oppose military sales, AIPAC, which is also funded by billionaires who support both Democrats and Republicans,
so
we'll go after. And I supported Cory Bush as well. To the best of my knowledge, and I'm 99% sure I'm right, they didn't say one word about Israel.
Wow.
So let me get this straight. Whether it's red ties or blue banners, the one color that truly runs Washington is green. And no, I'm not talking about climate policies. I'm talking cold, billionaire cash. In a rare moment of unfiltered real talk, Bernie Sanders sat down with Andrew Schulz on his show, Flagrant, and pulled the mask off America's two-party puppet show. Spoiler alert though, puppeteers are super PACs and billionaire lobbyists. Democrat, Republican, doesn't matter. If you speak up for Gaza or challenge corporate power, these billionaires will fund your political funeral without ever mentioning the real reason. AIPAC? They turn political hit jobs into an art form. They don't debate you, they just buy your silence. Or worse, maybe someone else to replace you. You think your vote matters? Cute. Until Elon Musk drops $270 million like it's monopoly money. And suddenly, your representative is a Wall Street chatbot with a flag pin. Left or right, this isn't democracy. It's a billionaire buffet. And if you're not on the guest list, well, tough crap. As Andrew puts it, you'll see. Let's talk about it.
Is that a moral issue? Are we comfortable with that?
Wow.
It's a simple question. And there are some people who say, hey, yeah, that's okay. It's a dog-eat-dog world. Elon's a brilliant guy. He's a hard-working guy. And other billionaires start their own companies. They're really bold and brave. Fine. They deserve it. And if you are trying to get by on $40,000 a year, well, tough crap.
How do you think Elon feels about it?
I don't know him.
That?
I've only talked to him many years ago, so I don't know him personally. But I'll tell you what I do think. I think there is a new breed of uber capitalists out there who really believe, and this is, and they write about this as well, who really believe that they are superior human beings. You know, I'm telling you, this is the quote-unquote high IQ guys who say, look, we work hard, we're smart, we have started these businesses.
To the victor go the spoils.
Not only that, I think what, that's yes. It's a dog-eat-dog world. I made it.
Yeah.
You didn't make it. Hey, man, that's the way life goes. It's deeper than that. You have some writing on the right, on the far right, which really diminishes democracy, and that really the smart and the wealthy and the powerful have the right to rule. So this is not just, oh, I want a tax break. There's nothing new about that.
Yeah.
This is, we have the right. It's the divine, you know, it used to be the divine rights of kings.
Or manifest destiny.
Exactly.
Yes.
All right. Back in the 19th century, the 1850s, you know, I am the king. God made my family king, and sorry you're starving to death, but that's the way life goes. God told me my family rules. There was some of that mentality.
So there's something about this that's just quite interesting that I've seen lately. And it's actually not lately. There is a trend with the ultra wealthy, which is upon their death, a lot of them have decided to give away their money, right?
Some of their money.
Or some. Okay, some of the most prolific, right? And, or as they get closer to death, they're like, our goal is to give away all our money. Okay, which seems to tell me that they think that there is an issue with them having all that money. If they truly felt entitled to it, like, it seems to me it's an admission that they agree with you. They're like, it's kind of wrong that we should just keep all this in our family. We should probably not have it. Now, they're not, it's almost like Benjamin Franklin freeing his slaves on his death. He's like, you know, he's like, this is wrong, but I don't want to leave it until, you know, I might need some shit and my back hurts. But what do I do? So when you see billionaires do that, right, or this elite class that you're talking about, do that, is there a part of you that goes, you're getting it, why don't you do that maybe 40 years earlier?
No.
Okay.
Look, I mean, these guys are very competitive. They're very smart. They're very innovative, hardworking. And I really think it's very competitive. And I think they want it all. I really do. And I think if you stop for a moment, you know, and yeah, well, I hope we can talk a little bit about a corrupt campaign finance system.
Please. Yes.
All right. Getting back to the Democrats and the Republicans and all that stuff. Understand, I mean, I'm in the middle of it. I work in Washington, D.C. So you're just using Musk again as an example. He's only one. I don't mean to pick on Mr. Musk, but The guy contributes because of a broken and corrupt campaign finance system, which, as a result of Citizens United Supreme Court decision, you're familiar with that, allows billionaires to start super PACs.
Can you really quickly just tell the audience exactly what it is? Because I feel like we hear these words like Citizens United, and a lot of people, like, we just...
And super PACs.
Yeah, so we just kind of pretend that we know what it is.
Okay.
But...
we have the First Amendment that says you have freedom of speech.
Of course.
Okay. So wealthy individuals, in a case called Citizens United, I don't remember all the details, basically said, look, we had at that point, Citizens United, I think, is 15, 20 years, that decision from the Supreme Court decision. So people go into the court and say, look, I have a First Amendment right to tell the people of America how I feel about an issue or a candidate.
Absolutely.
I don't like Andrew, and I want to spend $20 million on television ads telling people what a jerk he is, okay?
Making me feel like Jamal Bowman.
All right, that's another story. All right. And the Supreme Court says, no, we have campaign finance. There's campaign finance law which limits the amount of money you can spend on a campaign.
So there's already a law in place.
There's a law in place.
Legislation said you cannot do that.
That's what Citizens United did. It said the Supreme Court ruled that billionaires, that advertising is freedom of speech, and you can't limit my speech. So if I want to spend $100 million on TV ads, I have the right to do it. They said, you're right. So the issue is democracy versus billionaires being able to spend unlimited sums of money. Supreme Court went with that. And then the form it took was what's called a super PAC. You start an organization, Americans for Freedom, okay? And billionaires can put as much money as they want into that. That organization then runs ads on television. It does political stuff. That's what it's about. So bottom line, though, most importantly, is if you are a billionaire, you can put as much money as you want into a super PAC. And in Musk's case, he spent $270 million to help Donald Trump get elected president. Do Democrats have billionaires putting money into super PACs? Absolutely. All right. What does that mean in real life? This is what it means. Right now, we're dealing with a bill called the Reconciliation Bill. It's a fancy Washington term for a very big bill, which will have a lot of stuff in it. In any case, if a Republican stands up and says, you know what, in the House of Representatives, I don't like this bill because, it's giving tax breaks to very wealthy people and it's going to cut Medicaid and cut nutrition programs. It's a bad bill. What do you think happens the day after that Republican stands up and says he opposes it?
Those super PACs organize and they primary out those politicians.
Exactly.
Now, and how effective is that?
It is enormously effective. If you have, right now you're a Republican.
Yeah.
You got to.
Wait, what?
All right, no, I don't mean you. I mean in general.
It's going to go viral.
All right. So you have two elements. Trump is enormously popular within the Republican base.
Yeah.
Elon Musk has unlimited sums of money, right?
Double whammy.
Double whammy. So it is very hard for any Republican to sustain
To
that.
stand up and authentically speak their mind.
Do another example, because I'm an independent, right? Caucus with the Democrats. Democrats are better than the Republicans, to my mind. But Democrats. All right, I happen to believe that providing more military aid to Netanyahu's extreme right-wing government to do the horrible things that are going on in Gaza right now, as you may know, as we speak, it's horrible.
Absolutely.
Children are starving to death.
Absolutely.
Malnutrition growing and all that stuff. All right, I introduced legislation to say we're going to block the sale of certain military weaponry to Israel. I got 15 Democrats to support me. I got 0 Republicans. Why do you think more Democrats didn't support me? Because if Democrats support me, they will have to take on AIPAC. You mentioned Jamal Bowman.
Yeah.
Well, that's what you're talking about.
What'd they spend, like 15 or 20 million to get him out of there? Exactly. This is up in Westchester, too.
You got it.
Okay.
Cory Bush in Missouri, St. Louis, was defeated. A woman in the state of Washington, Pramila Jayapal's sister ran. So if you want to speak out against Netanyahu's government and oppose military sales, AIPAC, which is also funded by billionaires who support both Democrats and Republicans,
so
we'll go after.
How can they do this effectively? Like, how can they sway a vote if the people don't support the idea?
You know how you do it?
How?
This is rather amazing. Great question. You don't talk about the issue.
Oh, you make that person so radioactive.
Right. They didn't have, when they went after I was up in Westchester.
Now you're undermining the democratic process.
I was up in Westchester campaigning for Bowman.
Yeah.
And I supported Cory Bush as well. To the best of my knowledge, and I'm 99% sure I'm right, they didn't say one word about Israel.
Wow.
The argument was he's a bad Democrat or whatever the usual negative advertising. Didn't talk about Israel.
So this is quite interesting because if a group, like if a super PAC was honest about what they were raising against, for example, they spent that $20 million specifically defending their position on Israel, I wonder if we would be more amenable to that, because that is the issue at hand, instead of using funding to make this person radioactive, which they might not exactly be, and undermining. It is duplicitous. You're undermining the people, and that's where you remove. Wow.
That's a very good point. All right. I mean, I think they should not have unlimited amounts of money. But your point is, hey, if that's what your goal is, be honest about it.
And I say this with you because you raise money not from a few billionaires, but like you guys raise, what is it, Sunrise and then Democrat Justice or Democracy Just. There are these groups. They're a little different than super PACs, but they are raising money on a grassroots level.
We do.
But you are being honest about what you're raising money for.
Exactly. You're right. So your point is right. If somebody says, look, I love Netanyahu, I think they're doing a good job, you oppose him, and I'm going to oppose you for that reason, let's be honest about it.
Exactly.
But you know what? I think one of the reasons they don't do that, you know why?
Because it wouldn't be supported.
That's right.
So is there any solution beyond getting Citizens United overturned by another?
That's a great question, man. Thank you. You're asking really good questions. We're working on it right now. And here is, without going too much into the weeds, we need to end Citizens United. That's not going to happen tomorrow. But what you can do is within the Democratic Party or the Republican Party, you can have rules that says, you want to be the candidate of the Democratic Party? Well, guess what? You tell, and this is again tricky, you tell that you announce very clearly you do not want any super PACs supporting you. And by the way, if super PACs support you, for every dollar they put in, we're going to put another dollar in supporting you. There are things you can do. We're going to run ads.
We're going to offset it.
Bernie Sanders didn't come to play, and Andrew Schulz didn't flinch. One brought the fire, the other brought the questions, and together they led a match under the billionaire-funded circus we call American democracy. When a comedian like Andrew starts asking sharper questions than most journalists, and a sitting senator starts naming names like AIPAC and Elon Musk, you know the Matrix is glitching hard. This wasn't left versus right. This was truth versus cash. And guess who's buying the silence? It's not super PAC, it's super manipulation. They won't say they're coming for you because you support Gaza. They'll just label you radical, smear your record, and spend $20 million making you look like you kick puppies for fun. But here's the kicker. They only win if we stay quiet. So if you actually care about democracy, Gaza, or not being ruled by billionaires with God complexes, then hit that like button. Drop a comment and share this like your political future depends on it. Because it kinda does. Let's keep the truth louder than their checkbooks. Catch y'all later.